What's up, everybody? Welcome to the channel. I'm going to be talking about sniper rifle and marksman rifle optics today and the true zoom values for their sniper optics. So I'm just going to talk about the SPR and the Kar98 and the marksman rifles because those are the only ones that are kind of like sniper rifles that can one shot to the head. So I'll be talking about the sniper scopes and the variable zoom scopes. I'm not going to do thermals today. If there's enough people that want thermals, let me know in the comments and I'll do that too. But for today, I'm just going to talk about the regular optics. So when I'm talking about zoom in this video, everything's going to be measured to a baseline of either iron sights or red dot sights. Those both have the same amount of zoom on independent setting for the FOV setting. So if a sniper optic has 4x zoom, that means it's 4 times the amount of zoom that a red dot sight has on independent FOV, which is the same as console. Consoles are on independent FOV, which is also the same as 80 FOV on affected. So just to clear all that up. And then there's only one optic in this whole video that's affected by the affected setting, so I'll talk about that when we get there, but I just wanted to bring that up. And then before we jump into it, I just wanted to make sure, I think almost everyone that's watching this video probably knows, but there might be a few that don't. So there's this website, truegamedata.com, that I built that is where this whole YouTube channel came from. That's the website where you can build and compare all your loadouts. You can see the actual stats like the TTK at every range, movement speeds, ADS times, walking movement speeds, everything. I compiled all the data for the site. You can build and compare all your loadouts there and see the actual stats. So I know probably like 95% of you know that, but I actually bet there's some that don't know about it here. So I just wanted to cover that real quick. And I also stream all the time at twitch.tv/truegamedata.live. You can pop in and watch me get really angry at the game on a regular basis if you want to. That's always a good time. And then I have a True Game Data Discord that's getting pretty big. We have 1,400 members. This is linked below. You don't have to type that in manually, but it'll be in the description of the video. It's a great place to find groups and ask questions and just hang out with like-minded people that are into, the data of the weapons and things. So if you want to join that, go ahead. But yeah, let's jump into it. Okay, so first up's Kar98K. The sniper scope is stated at 7x zoom, and its actual zoom is 2.9x, and that's 2.9x more zoom than the red dot sight on independent would have. Variable, so I have both settings for the variable zoom scopes throughout this whole video. So the variable 3.5x is actually 2.3 zoom in game, and then the variable 8x is 4.5 actual zoom in game. So your object, whatever you're looking at, can be 4.5 times taller or 4.5 times wider. With the variable 8x. Then next up is the SPR. So the SPR is the one gun that has weird things going on. So the numbers stated in game are exactly the same as the Kar98. It's 7x for the standard sniper scope, 3.5x for the variable zoom, low zoom, and then 8x for the long zoom, the far zoom. But they're completely different than the Kar98, first of all. So if you're looking at independent, the 7x zoom is actually 2.7, which if we go back to the Kar98, it's 0.2x less than the Kar98. And then the variable zoom 3.5x is actually way less than that. So on independent, it's 1.9, so it actually falls beneath that 3.25x cutoff for the affected FOV to take place. So if you actually put your FOV on 120 and you're on affected setting, then your zoom with the variable 3.5x is only 1.1 times as much as a red dot sight on independent, which is crazy. It's like not a sniper scope at all. It's basically a red dot sight. So I don't know why these are so weird and labeled incorrectly compared to what they actually are in game, but this is the only one that's like that. The rest of them are all above that 3.25x cutoff for all the sniper rifles. But yeah, anyway, let's get on to the next one. So the variable 8x, again, is completely different than what the Kar98 is, even though they're labeled the same in game. So Kar98 was 4.5 for the 8x. SPR is 3.3 for the 8x. Variable is 3.5 if you're on independent, or the variable is 1.9 if you're on independent, and it was 2.3 with the Kar98. So it's just weird. I don't know. They're not labeled right, which I shouldn't be surprised by, but I'm still surprised by. And then on to the Dragunov. So the default sniper scope doesn't have a stated zoom that I could find in the game, but I give the actual value here. So it's 3.9. So you can compare that to like the SPR. The default sniper scope on the Dragunov has more zoom than the 8x variable does on the SPR by quite a bit, 3.3 versus 3.9, so it's 0.6x more. That's one of the big things that holds the SPR back is the zoom, I feel like, because it doesn't have very much drop. It's just if people are 200 plus meters out, they're so small, even with the variable 8x, that it can be difficult to hit people, so hit those headshots. So the variable 5x is 2.8, and this is still Dragunov. Variable 12.1x is 6.1. So next up after the Dragunov, we have the Rytec. So again, the default sniper scope on the Rytec doesn't have a stated zoom, so I can only give you the actual zoom, which is 5.1. And then it says the variables 5.5 and 12.6, and the actual zooms are 3.1 and 7.8 for the Rytec. Again, let's go back and compare that to the SPR. So the lowest zoom you can get on the Rytec is 3.1, which is very close to the highest zoom you can get on the SPR, which is, like I said, one of the reasons why I think the SPR is kind of somewhat difficult to use at long ranges. You just can't get that zoom that you need. And they may have done that on purpose to try to hold back the gun, but I don't know. So after the Rytec, we have the AX50. AX50 is labeled differently in game. It's labeled as 5x variable and 12.1x, but it's actually exactly the same as the Rytec. So the Rytec was labeled as 5.5 and 12.6, but these are actually identical in terms of actual zoom. If you watch the actual zoom column, they're exactly the same: 5.1, 3.1, 7.8 for default, or the low zoom and high zoom of the variable zoom. And then the HDR is labeled as 5.5x and 12.6 for the variable, which is the same as the Rytec, but it actually has a lot less zoom. So the default sniper scope on the HDR is 3.6. On the Rytec, it's 5.1. The 5.5x stated zoom on variable is actually 2.7. On the Rytec, it's 3.1. The 12.6 stated zoom in game is actually only 6.8, and on the Rytec it's 7.8. So you can't quite get as much zoom with the HDR as you can with the Rytec or the AX50. You do get a lot of zoom still with the HDR, so I don't know how much that matters, but I just wanted to mention it. And then the final page here is just a summary of all these values. So I have Kar 98, SPR, Dragunov, Rytec, AX50, HDR, sniper, and variable for all of them. And this is just all the data we just went through, just in one page. So you can compare all the different zooms. So you can just pause it here if you want, but put this star here because this SPR 3.5x variable is the only optic in this whole list that's affected by the affected ADS setting for FOV. But the rest of them are not affected by that, so it doesn't matter if you're on independent or affected. You'll get the same zoom regardless. But yeah, I just want to do a quick video on this because the guns are completely mislabeled as far as even relative to each other. So it's not like I'm just measuring it differently. Like even the Kar 98 and SPR look like they're supposed to be the same, and then they're completely different. All right, well, that's all I wanted to cover today. Just want to do a quick video. So thank you all for all the support. You guys are awesome. It's been crazy. I'm at 31,000 subs now, which is just mind-blowing. But yeah, thanks for all the support, and I will see you all in the next video.